Okay. Trying to move this other deck out of the way because I don't know why, but me trying to put it down, ended up stabbing it into the other deck. I was like, well, okay then. You can't have a deck, okay? I'm trying to read. Okay, thanks a lot, but no thanks. Alright, y'all, so let's go ahead and focus on this past energy. So, the Knight of Swords. So there was some fast-moving energy, some progress being made, but most importantly, some truth being told and being expressed. So things were moving very fast. Somebody potentially, I don't think it was combative energy or anything, combative energy, anything fighting-wise, but this is fighting for what you believe in. So for those of you that have been dealing with somebody that's very aggressive in how they are communicating, or they're very certain and very, like, very non-negotiable with how they're communicating or what they want, what their truth is, then this could be this person automatically, right? This could also indicate a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, but these, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be an air sign. It could be anybody, anybody who you feel like has been, pretty doggone straightforward and honest about what they believe. Excuse me. Internally, though, this had a lot to do with the devil. Now, the devil does indicate it can be karmic relationships, but most importantly, it can be codependency, addictions, bad habits. So there could be just like an old habit, an old thing that could be coming back up. It could be that somebody was being very open and very clear about what some old behaviors or some old habits that been coming up. Because the Eight of Pentacles is talking about focusing and working. So there could be like an addiction in regards to work, or an addiction to working very hard, being very codependent. So, the devil also can be read as toxic relationships or toxic situation. But I really feel like with this, with the situation here, this is like some old ways of doing something, some old habits, some old situation, or some old, obviously old behaviors that has a lot to do with the Eight of Pentacles, which is work. It could also be that there's a lot of hard work being put into fixing the situation, and that's what this person is fighting for the truth, fighting to be more, to be more authentic with themselves. That's interesting with that devil card there, because with the devil, it does talk about like feeling an old way, feeling trapped and not feeling open, like you feel like you're stuck. In the past year, you felt like you were stuck, but I feel like you were also very, very diligent, working very hard on something, very focused energy, and it has a lot to do with fighting for your truth and delivering clarity. So for some of you guys may have been more open about the things that you were troubled with, when it comes to addictions, when it comes to status quos, or being stuck in a relationship, or feeling trapped in some sort of situation. But here we go again with the Eight of Pentacles, that you were working on it. Like there was some sort of work being done, some diligent work being done. It could have been physical work, like actual going to work, but this could also be working on the addictions that you had here. Which is why you have the card that's talking about fighting. So you may have been fighting off some old, not some old behaviors, but some attachments that you may have, or some sort of addictions of some sort. You're having you're going through it right now. You went through it anyway, and currently in your present moment, you have the Eight of Swords in your emotions, right? Because of the Page of Wands. Now with the Page of Wands coming up, this is a new adventure, a spark of something creative. This is also news, but internally you feel like you can't move for some reason. Like it's honestly like you're trapped in your thoughts when it comes to this. When it comes to your emotions, it's almost like you're not sure of what's going on. Basically because you can't see what's in front of you. You have a lot going on. You have a lot happening, but there's not, you're not very clear or very certain of what's happening, and you feel trapped. Like you don't feel like you're able to make the moves forward. Very similar to the past here. Okay, so with that happening, you have also the Hangman, which is another stuck energy, Hangman energy. And it's because of a new perspective that needs to be seen, which I feel like has a lot to do with the past. That's very interesting that you have a card that fights for clarity, fights for their truth, and then now externally you're waiting on a new perspective. You're on hold. Everything's on, like, it's halted, potentially because of this, this new beginning. It's very interesting, guys. Okay. Now, Now, with this situation, I'm gonna have to pull some clarifiers for it because I'm looking at it, and it's just like trapped, working on it, and then working on it. Like there's a lot of action being done about it, but you don't feel like it's hard to it's hard to communicate with people. It's hard to express yourself because you kind of don't know what's going on yourself. You don't really see what's happening. You can't really communicate that with anybody. So externally, you're waiting on some sort of enlightenment. And it's really weird because the hangman is never distressed. He's never in a struggle. He's never in any hurry to get down and keep it moving. He's just sitting there chilling out, waiting for his perspective to come in. And the page of wands is something in regards to some sort of news, some sort of, new adventure. Perhaps that there's some sort of news that needs to come in for you in regards to some sort of, enlightenment here. But there's a lot of patience that's coming into here. There's a lot of waiting. Even though this is an action-oriented card, the Page of Wands, new beginnings, everything's starting fresh. There's a lot of holding on. There's a lot of waiting, and it's because you don't see what's going on emotionally. You need that clarity before you can make the necessary moves here, right? That's what it kind of looks like. It's like you're not making any real moves here, but a new beginning has started, and you're not quite sure how you feel about it yet. And it's because of all the hard work that you've been putting in. You've been really working at something that made you feel trapped previously, but at least you had like some sort of clue of what it was. And now you really don't know what's going on. So in the future, you have the Two of Cups here, which does indicate that meeting someone new, connecting with someone. Just also, you feel the same way about this individual, whoever you meet. And the future also shows the Chariot, so there's actually then finally some movement of, some things moving actually very fast, because, the Chariot is definitely the opposite of the Hangman, because there's movement, there's free will, but you also have, you're definitely more in control here than you are here. It's very weird. It's like externally you can't really do much of anything but wait and see a perspective. Internally, you feel very trapped. You don't see the way forward. You just kind of, you kind of just feel stuck and you feel trapped, but there's a new beginning here. There's a new journey potentially, or maybe you've got some news that made you feel emotionally trapped, but externally you're waiting for a new perspective before you can release it. And then in the future, you meet the individual, you meet someone that can really propel the relationship, propel things forward, that can move things forward. However, externally you have the Seven of Cups, excuse me. And that Seven of Cups can indicate like different options, different things, different things you can go for. What are your dreams and heart's desires? Or picking exactly what it is, what avenue you're trying to go towards. But you have all the control here with the Chariot. Things finally move. Things finally get pushed forward. It's very interesting. You have a go, but then there's a lot of stops, and stops. Like you have stop, stop, stop. Very interesting, Aquarius. Let me go ahead and pull some clarifiers for you, because just to kind of get a better idea what's going on. All right. Why does Aquarius have the Devil in their internal feelings in the past? Okay, some stress. Nine of Swords is coming up with this. So, or sleepless nights, not being able to sleep very well. Some things that are stressing you out. How you handle your stress is by working potentially. Okay. All right. What is the Eight of Swords? It also talks about worry, maybe you guys have been worried about something. There's something that's been worrying you guys in regards to your relationships or in regards to love, and it's caused you to work very hard, very diligently in retaliation to how you feel in regards to stress. In regards to the stress that you may be feeling with this Devil energy. You may feel like you're trapped in a situation when it comes to love, but you're not really actually trapped. Obviously, the Devil always shows that, right? The chains around their necks, around the necks of the people in the card, they're not truly trapped. They're not They can get out of the situation if they want to, and perhaps it just feels like the chains got tighter, maybe. And with the Eight of Pentacles, you had to just kind of keep moving forward, keep making, working hard and getting out of this situation, fighting something. What were they fighting in the past there? The Ten of Cups. Fighting for the happiness. Fighting for happiness. So you guys were fighting for the completion of a cycle between, with this devil energy, potentially feeling like you guys were stuck. You guys couldn't really make any progress. So you've been making progress, though. You have been. But now, why is the Eight of Swords in our feelings? That's interesting. The Four of Pentacles. You feel trapped in your situation. You feel trapped in your thoughts because of your certain comfort zone, potentially, or some sort of stability in your relationship. Like you are very stable. You don't see a way out of it. You don't see a way forward. Why is the Page of Swords coming up if there's so much stagnant energy? The Page of Swords. So there's some sort of news, man. There's some sort of news and more sort of communication, and it's something that it's something that you may receive, actually, because of all the stagnant energy. You may be receiving some sort of information, or receiving some sort of blunt truth, and it has a lot to do. And it's hard to see a future, or hard to see ahead, or get out of your thoughts right now because you're not the one that's really making the. Oh, the Justice card just came out. That's interesting. I wasn't really thinking about anything, but that's very interesting that it comes up. I'm just going to put this back here because I wasn't thinking about anything in particular with that card. But, the Justice card does come up with apologies. It can be apologies, it can be mending or settling, putting things to rest. And it could be that there's some sort of news or some sort of apology that could be coming in. Let's put that there, actually. Some sort of apologies or something that could be coming in, especially if you haven't been able to see a way out of your situation. If you kind of been feeling stuck, kind of been feeling like you're not able to do anything currently, but it's not like it's it's almost like saying, like, if you guys feel trapped right now, perhaps it's because you don't believe that there's an option. There's something in regards to there's something that's keeping you from being able to see a path ahead. And I think has a lot to do with stability. Maybe you don't see that your situation is very stable in the first place, so so you're not really sure where to move forward next. But externally, you have the Hangman. You're waiting on something. You're waiting on some sort of communication, or waiting on some sort of perspective that has a lot to do with an apology, so that way you can feel like there is an option outside of where you are. Because here then you have the Two of Cups. This communication does end up, connecting you and another person, making some sort of movement forward. But then you also still have a decision to make. You still have a lot of choices to make, or seeing the situation very closely, because it's all great and wonderful in the very beginning, but you're not necessarily sure of if this is something that you want. Interesting, Aquarius. It's a very receiving time with information that's coming in. So I can understand why you may not feel like there's any options right now, especially if you've done the work, if you've done everything that you possibly could, and now you're just like, all right, forget it. New love is on its way. Or maybe you don't see that love can happen. New love can happen, so you're kind of comfortable where you are, kind of comfortable and solid. You maybe have been trapped in a toxic relationship for quite a while, and but it promoted a lot. You've been fighting for stuff. You've been making things happen. You're doing a great job potentially with like your external energy, with how you felt, despite how you felt about relationships and love. Maybe you've been putting in a lot of work, and you've been doing some differences with the Ten of Cups, completing a cycle in a really wonderful way, despite what happened in the past. And now you have potentially new love coming in, and it's hard for you to see it because you've been comfortable with where you've been all this time, which was doing what you've been doing all this time, working, standing tall, making new boundaries, etc. And now this new beginning could be coming in, but it's going to require you to see love or see a situation from a new perspective. for new love to come in, because you do have a new relationship coming in. You've connected with someone emotionally, but externally you have a lot of options. Interesting. Or that you feel love for someone and you're not sure whether or not it's real or not. It's almost like, I don't want to say it's doubting your belief, but that's what it kind of looks like. That believe, there's a bit of doubt in regards to what you believe. But then the Chariot shows up in the future to show that you do actually have the control. You have the control necessary to make whatever you want happen. It's going to require willpower.